My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. Simon and Andrew had gotten up early, long before the sun had risen, and after they had said their morning prayer, they headed out, as they did every day, onto the Sea of Galilee to fish. Now it was a day just like any other, nothing special. A little bit of a chill in the air, but apart from that, nothing more. Business was going pretty well. There was plenty of fish in the sea, and plenty of customers who were willing to buy their prize fish. As usual, they didn't chat that much when they were out on the lake. They were still a bit tired, having gotten up so early, and they were just concentrating on their fishing, trying to do the job they'd set out to do, and to do it well. And they were turning the sails and keeping the nets taut. As the sun began to rise, they caught sight of the figure of a man who was walking by the side of the shore, only about 20 or 30 meters from where their little boat was. And before he spoke, both Simon and Andrew noticed something different about this man. He was elegant and yet at the same time very simple. He had a presence about him, like someone important, someone who knew what he was about. Both Simon and Andrew were transfixed on this man. It was quite without explanation, and all the while they were trying to fish at the same time. As they were hauling in the nets, they could hear the sound of so many fish swimming near the surface. They had hauled a huge load of fish that morning. The sun was just about to rise, and it was so much brighter than the darkness that they had set out in. And the man who was now parallel to them on the shoreline stopped, and turning to face them, he said in a clear and powerful voice, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." That instant, their whole lives seemed to change. Their hearts were beating intensely, and Simon just let go of the net that he was struggling to drag onto the boat. He was staring at the man on the shoreline. Andrew suddenly felt the huge weight of the net full of fish whenever Simon had let go of the net. Their whole livelihood was slipping into the sea, and he couldn't hold on to it himself. But he felt an even stronger pull from the man who was standing on the shoreline. And those words he had just spoken, they were piercing deep into his soul. "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." He wasn't even sure what it really meant, but there was something so enticing about it. This man who he had never seen before was drawing him in irresistibly. And so, within a few seconds, he too let go of the net. Even though it was full of fish, it just slipped away, because he and his brother had been caught by the man who was standing on the shore. Simon, turning the tiller of the boat, guided their little vessel, the 20 meters, back to the shoreline. And they followed him. Lord, there is something amazing about this story, the meeting of Simon and Andrew. And you go on then to meet James and John fishing with their father Zebedee in the boat. And what really amazes me is how the gospel tells us that they leave everything behind in an instant just to follow you. Whenever they hear you say to them, "Follow me," it's like something instant clicks in their head. It's like this is the thing that they have been waiting to hear their whole lives. And nothing else gives them any purpose or fulfillment other than to follow you. Now, many of us, Lord, struggle to hear you speak, and would love to hear you speak so clearly as you did to Simon and Andrew that day on the shore of Galilee. Many people find it hard to know what the next step in their life is, looking for a sign from you which would help us to know which way we have to go, which way you want us to go. There is something so powerful about your presence and your voice. That these disciples just let everything go. And if in a few years' time they would be both asked to give up everything again and to lay down their lives upon a cross just as you did. Lord, often you are passing by in our world, but we are too distracted to see you. We're too caught up with our own lives, and we can't notice anything else going around us. Sometimes our lives are even so caught up in the humdrum that we just don't know how to break out of that cycle. Sometimes our lives seem so ordinary. We're looking for something exciting to take over, but it just hasn't come yet. We just feel that our life hasn't reached that point where it's found its fulfillment yet. And we're looking and we're searching for it. Sometimes we're being so dragged in by other things that they really hold us back. Sometimes the weight of the net, if we think about Simon and Andrew in the boat, is so strong and so enticing for us that we're not willing to let it go. Sometimes there's something which is holding us back. And rather than promising fulfillment and joy, which we think it will, it's actually taking us in a different direction. Simon and Andrew and James and John left everything behind in order to follow you. And that's not easy for us. But you give us so much grace in order to be able to do that. We know, Lord, that if we have the courage to do that, you will do the rest. And maybe you're inviting us to let go of something that is a huge draw in our lives, and we just don't feel that we're able to do it. But if we're able to summon up that courage, Lord, if we're able to just let go, even for just a second, we know that you'll be there to help us. Today in the calendar of the church, it's the Monday of the first week of ordinary time. It's just an ordinary Monday. Nothing particularly special about it. In fact, it could be the same Monday of ordinary time that Simon and Andrew set out to work that morning on their boat. And think about it, it was in the midst of utter ordinariness that you broke into their lives and you spoke to them. Sometimes we're looking for the big, extraordinary moment. We think you're going to speak to us, Lord, like the clouds coming over us and a voice coming from heaven. But maybe you choose to speak to us more in the ordinary events of our life. Just in doing things well and trying to seek you in them. Maybe it's that one person in our life who offers us a word of consolation or might gently nudge us in the right direction because of something that you have put into their heart to say to us. But because we're not expecting that, or because we're just not engaging with the ordinariness of life, we miss that. So Lord, give us the faith that we need just to see you in the small, ordinary things of every life. Lord, it seems that the disciples took a huge risk in letting everything go in order to follow you. Thinking that they left their boat, they left their nets, they left everything they had in order to make money, in order to support themselves. They were willing to just let that go in order to follow something which was completely uncertain. Huge risk. But maybe it was you that took an even bigger risk with them. You saw these two men, fishermen, who you had called to become leaders in your church. They didn't know that yet, but that was your plan for them. Were they going to be capable of it? Were they going to stand up to the pressure whenever the moments of difficulty came? Were they going to understand what you had to say to them? Would they persevere right to the end? Sometimes we think we're the only ones taking the risk. But Lord, give us the faith to see that you're taking a risk with us too, that you're investing in us and want us just to respond and to trust you. Mary, our mother, we too would like to find contentment in life, to know our purpose. Speak to your Son, Jesus, for us, and ask him to come to us in the ordinary, everyday moments of our life, and so that we can be just like Simon and Andrew, like James and John, to go about our ordinary day job and help us to respond to those challenges which your Son is making to us, so that whenever he says, "Follow me," we'll have the courage to drop everything and to do so. I give you thanks, my God, for the good resolutions, affections and inspirations that you have communicated to me during this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.